Didn't see you last week, sir. You look refreshed and ready to go.
Yes,
How are you?
I feel great. I'm ready to go. And the thing is that listening to these two guys, Flelo, talking about Aaron Rodgers in one throw. I mean, he's made a million of those throws. And what was good about that throw, to be honest, it looked like he was throwing it to Devontae Adams. So he's going to make Garrett Wilson into a star. He already is a star, but he's going to be a superstar. And you can see that this kid can catch everything. Thanks, Fleeks. He can catch everything. He is going to be amazing. That's why I say, if I put the number at 47.5 for touchdown passes for Aaron Rodgers, if he stays healthy and plays 17 games, it's going to be over that. I mean, because it is going to be so much fun to watch. And I do believe, because of their schedule, that they're going to have to score a lot of points. The defense is good, and it may be one of the top 5 defenses in football, but as we all know, the rules favor the offense in this league. They play a lot of great quarterbacks, especially early on in their schedule. They start with the Bills, then the Cowboys, Patriots, Chiefs, Broncos, and Eagles. So that's 6 games, and I would say that they'll probably maybe be favored in 3 of those games.
Sure.
I would think. If I don't know about the Bills. I think the Bills are favored over the Jets in week 1. But here's the thing. I was glad to see Aaron actually get on the field and play.
Yeah, so was I. And for me, just watching it, I mean, I sat here a couple of weeks ago after watching Hard Knocks the first time and then one Jets drive, and I loved what I saw. And I know every year it looks good, but this to me feels different. And that to me did not change with what I saw Saturday night. I know it was just the first quarter. It was just a couple of drives. But we know, and I know the Giants' offense didn't play, their starters didn't play, but their defense is flying all over the place. Yes. And offensively, the command of the offense is exactly what we expect, and he looks great.
Yeah, I think the defensive line is going to be their strength. You could say that. You could also say the wide receivers and the running backs. I think the offensive line is going to be fine. One of the real eye-opening performances that we've seen was the third preseason game, because they did play 4, right? They played 4.
Yeah, the Jets, yeah.
Right, yeah. So the third preseason game where Mekhi Becton was just mauling people, and that was great to see. And then right after that game, they named him the starter at right tackle, and that has been something every Jet fan has been waiting for, and it's it had horror written all over it. As long as he is motivated, and I'm sure he's been talked to by Aaron Rodgers and a lot of the other young players that are trying to get him to really be motivated to be as good as his body says that he can be. So that was that. To me, that was the big thing coming into this season. What was Mekhi Becton going to bring to the Jets? And here he is. After a little bit of headache and heartache over the last 2 years, a lot of stuff in the media, starting probably here with me, but the fact of the matter is he deserves that right tackle spot in that third game. He was just mauling people. So that was a great sign. And you can see the defensive line is active. And Saleh's going to rotate those. He and Jeff Ulbrich are going to rotate those guys. And they're going to come flying out at you. So other quarterbacks will have to deal with the Jet defense. But my point is that because of the way this league is set up, it really comes down to whether or not the quarterback can stay upright for 17 games. And, they got a lot of good teams that they're going to be playing against. It's one of the hardest schedules starting. You never know how the teams are going to be when you get to play them. Man, but I just think that it was good to see Aaron actually in a real game and running away from Isaiah Simmons, which was, by the way,
shot out of a cannon.
Which is really a good pickup for Wink Martindale and the Giants. It's relatively, they got him for nothing. They're not really paying him much. He's got to be highly motivated. And if we've learned anything about Wink Martindale and what he likes to do on defense, is he's going to interchange guys, and he's going to create an opportunity for this kid and his athleticism to show itself. I mean, he was a good player in Arizona. I don't think he ever became the great player everybody thought he was going to be. And he's kind of a tweener. He's more of a safety. He likes to rush. And I think that that was a great pickup for the Giants in their defense. But that also tells you that they are a little bit worried about their pass rush.
Sure. But they go out and get a guy who, and the one thing I love, I was watching the game Saturday, and Bob Papa and Carl Banks were talking about it, and Bob said that Brian Dable basically went to him and said, all right, linebacker, safety, what do you feel you're best at? And he said, I want to rush the passer. He goes, well, that's what you're going to do.
Well, if
and
he
you
does
can see it.
If he does rush the passer and somehow gets double-digit sacks, that's where the money is.
Right. Well, that goes to your point about he's motivated.
Right. So, but that's where the money is. He doesn't want to play safety.
Understood.
He wouldn't want to play slot corner. He wants to play edge rusher, and I think he wants to play probably maybe 20, 22 2, 3 to 4 plays a game and just rush and keep rushing.
Understood.
and he'll give tackles fits, as you could see how fast he is. He has a new lease on life. He's got a new coordinator who will figure out a way to use him, and hopefully he brings what everybody thought he was going to bring to the Cardinals when they drafted him 8th overall.
All right, to answer your question, the Jets are 2-point underdogs at home against the Bills on week 1. Aside from, let's put the offensive line, put them aside for a second, who I actually think is going to be just fine. What is the weakness on this team, would you say? Because I look at it.
I can't put the.
There isn't one. If you look at them, I only say this when you look at position by position. Quarterback, check. Wide receivers, a lot of depth, so a deep group there. The offensive line put aside. Running back, my God, they've got plenty of legs to run the football and go out and catch the ball and block for error.
Yeah, we haven't even seen Dalvin Cook yet.
Right, and so you got a lot of depth there. Defensive line, check. Linebackers, check. Secondary, like what would you say, aside from injury and the offensive line being awful, which I don't think is going to be the case, where are the deficiencies on this team?
I would just say that it's just depth along the offensive line and whether or not, they're going to make it. They're going to make it through 17-game season.
But can't you say that, though, about every team for the most part?
Well, sure you can. Every team has got something that they're not comfortable with. And, you already saw a couple trades. You saw the Giants make a trade with Arizona. You saw Cleveland make a trade with New England. New England picks up a tackle because they needed more depth on their offensive line, and they send a running back to Cleveland. So we'll see more because cut down is tomorrow at 4 o'clock. We're starting to see players getting released now. And, it's kind of interesting because, every team has got to get to 53 players, active 53 players. And if you put somebody on IR before that 53-man roster is set, that person who is on IR is out for the season.
I saw the Bucks did that with Ryan Jensen Saturday.
Right, so he's done. He's done for the season. So in order to keep somebody and keep them relatively or hopeful that you can activate them, let's say like Kyler Murray. Mm-hmm. You can keep Kyler Murray on the PUP list, or you can keep him on the active roster, and then after the active roster is set, then you can put him on IR, and then you can bring him back in a short period of time. The PUP list means basically, or there's also the NFI list, the non-football injury list. Which could be an illness, which could be something going on off the field, something like that. There's another list that they can stash players as well. So all of those things will be happening now over the next 24 hours, and we'll see if their teams are unhappy with who they have and if there's other guys out there. Now, they can't steal guys from practice squads.
When does that begin? When the season starts?
No, yeah, it starts immediately. Right. So they set their 53-man roster. Then all of a sudden, all those guys are out there, waiver wire and everything, and guys start getting plucked off of different. But then you can't just put them on your practice squad. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So once those teams
they have to go right to the active roster,
right? So you have to keep 16 guys, I believe it is, on the practice squad, and I think of those 16 guys, 6 of those guys could actually be veterans, being in the league 2 years. So it doesn't have to just be rookies. And they also have the emergency quarterback rule this year, which means, you have your 53-man roster for Sunday, and then you have a 54th guy in uniform who's an emergency quarterback that can only play if the 2 guys prior to him get hurt. And if one of those guys can come back into the game, then the emergency quarterback's got to go back on the sideline.
Now, I said this to G last week, and I'm going to say it again. And this is not, I'm not trying to, speak out of school here. I'm not trying to be flashy. I'm not trying to
is this a hot take thing?
No, it's not. It's not at all.
Oh, okay.
This team feels different to me. And in all the years of watching the Jets when they were good, I really thought Rex had a chance to get them to the Super Bowl, but I never sat there or went into a season saying, I think the Jets are one of the top couple of teams to make it to the Super Bowl and possibly win the damn thing. I just feel like this has the feeling to me like Vinny back in the day before he got hurt, and I know that. But going into that year with the Jets, I thought they had the best opportunity in my lifetime to be a Super Bowl team. Nothing has happened in the last month that tells me otherwise. I know the schedule is difficult, but you know what? The teams that have to play the Jets look at the Jets and say, tough game. And you can tell me they're an underdog the first week against the Bills. Great. The Bills are a terrific team. Even if the Jets lost week, like I think the one thing you said before you went away was, if we're sitting here in September at any point and Aaron Rodgers has to do the whole relax thing, the RELAX thing, maybe. But I also don't think we can expect them to be this refined product week one. But I do think as we go through this season, this team is going to get better and better and be more polished. And I just think this is one of the best Jet teams on paper I've ever seen.
I would agree with you, Jerry. And I think that they have everything that you've pointed out already this morning. And there is a different feeling because of Aaron Rodgers. There's no question about it. The hopes are there. The expectations are there. Now comes the real stuff. The real stuff comes now, and it's going to come out that Monday night. He got a great hand on Saturday night, which was fantastic.
Amazing, wasn't it?
It was, and it was great to have that. And the I don't know how many Giant fans stood up and cheered for him, but
it sounded like it was a Jet home game.
It did. I think a lot of people wanted to see Aaron Rodgers in MetLife Stadium,
right?
And they sold it out, for God's sake.
And that was so funny too, because I put the game on right at the start of the hour. And it was so goofy what they did. And I know it ain't Bob's fault or Carl's fault. It's whoever decided to pre-tape. So they do the stand-up literally like 4 minutes before kickoff.
Yes.
In an empty stadium. And it honestly looked ridiculous because the first shot was MetLife Stadium, Aaron Rodgers walking in, fans are there, and then they go to Bob, who's standing there. He might as well have been in a closet by himself because there was no one behind him. They go to break, you come back, and the place is packed.
Wow, look at this.
Boy, people really filed in quickly.
I don't think the general fan thinks that way like you and I would see that.
Well, it looked funny.
I know, but I don't know necessarily that anybody else would actually notice that.
No, it was hard not to.
All I know is I haven't been this excited for a preseason game around here.
I agree.
In a long time.
For 2 series, that's what we were excited for.
Yeah, because we all wanted to see Aaron play. He hadn't played in 5 years in the preseason.
Right.
So it was good to see him out there. And even he said after the game that he was nervous. And I totally get why he would say that, because this is a new experience for him. New players, new stadium, new fans, new expectations. All of that is great. And he gets charged up. I felt that way back in 1993 myself, so I know exactly where he's coming from. And I hope you're a little bit off saying that, they might come stumbling out of the gate. I hope that's not the case. I hope that they've worked hard enough in practice. They've been competing against their own defense, which is a damn good defense, that when they do see the Bills and they do see Von Miller and all these guys, that they're going to be ready to go from jump. And that's really the big question. What's it going to look like after their first 4 games? Where are we going to be, or where are they going to be? And what are we going to be talking about after those first 4 games? Because, man, I don't remember, and I think you're right, I don't remember a time where there was the expectations were this high, with the exception of the second year that the Jets were ready to go to the, with Rex Ryan, of Mark Sanchez. Second year, they were excited and expectations were there.
I agree. The difference for me was we still weren't sure about the quarterback. Could they win with the quarterback who we thought was up and coming but wasn't there yet? That's why this is different. And I love WFAN, but they gave me a headline last week about Aaron Judge that I did not say, and I got crushed for it, but that's fine. So don't sit there and say that I'm telling you the Jets are going to come out the gate slow. That's not what I said. What I said was, if we happen to be here at the end of September and they're 2-2 or 1-3, I'm saying let them figure it out. It's going to be fine, and they're going to get better and better and better. I would prefer not to think that the season's over. What's the matter?
I was going to say, did Gallows screw you?
I don't know. I got to go back and find it, because I had
What was the headline?
I was putting blame on the fact that the Yankees had a miserable month, basically, because when Aaron Judge came back, he wasn't Aaron Judge. And to me, it's up to him to carry the team. That's all. And so the headline on whatever it was with the video was, Jerry blames loss on Aaron Judge stinks, or something like that. That's not what I said. I said he's getting paid. Us.
And this came from us?
Us.
Really?
Yes. I'll tell you what, though, I even clicked on it because I'm like, I didn't say that, did I?
Wait a minute.
I had to rewatch it.
I don't know what it is about you, Jerry, but whether it be you and Gio or me and you, people screw like,
what we say.
What we say up.
And this happened in-house.
And this is our in-house people.
It was a good headline, but it was wrong.
So that was Gallo.
Maybe Gallo. Could have been Izzo. I don't know.
Wow.
It was actually pretty funny. So please don't take what Boomer just said and what I said. And I am not saying they're going to be bad to start.
No, I think they're going to be. I think this team is.
I think so too.
God, they can run it. They can throw it, and they can play defense.
It's still new though.
Yep.
So you might have to give them a couple of games, 3 games, and they're going to be fine.
And the kicking game is solid. Kicking, you know, that's something that nobody ever really talks about. You got a great punter. You got a great kicker. You should have good special teams on top of all of this.
Let me ask you this.
Should be winning. You should be winning the field position battle that goes on. And, you know, it's interesting watching because remember, we also have fair catches on kickoffs now.
Yes, which is weird.
Well, it's weird because what happened was, or what was happening was instead of, you know, kickers kicking it through the end zone, they wanted the return to try to force a turnover.
Right.
So what they were doing were the high arcing kicks that were coming down around the 5-yard line. And I think the NFL is trying to, for whatever reason, you know, obviously injuries play a large part in these decisions, but they're trying to, you know, make the game safer. And they think those high arcing kicks, forcing the guy to, you know, return the ball is a recipe for injury. So they're trying to take that out of the game. Now, this is a 1-year experiment. We haven't really seen much of it at all. I don't think I've seen any of it in the preseason, but I did see a couple squib kicks where teams now are squib kicking and forcing the other team to try to pick it up. And those squib kicks, if they're utilized right, those things I think are going to be a part of the NFL season this year like we've never seen before.
No question. Do you think, before we take a break, do you think if I opened up the phones and said, what do you think the Jets' deficiencies are? What do you think we get more calls on, the offensive line or the head coach?
Offensive line.
Really? See, I think the head coach. I like him, but I feel like a lot of the calls to this radio station are they don't believe in Saleh.
Well, first of all, you know, he was dealing with, you know, Zach Wilson, who was obviously completely in and over his head and was not ready for this. And I still don't think he's ready for it. I mean, I watched him exclusively, like attentively, I should say. He's better because he's not throwing the ball at people's feet. And he seems to be a little bit more relaxed because he knows it's not all on him right now. But I worry about him going 4 quarters. You know, I could see like dips in his game where, you know, all of a sudden he's playing great and then he goes out there and then starts running around and not trusting his wide receivers. There were a couple of times where he had press coverage, and if Aaron Rodgers has that press coverage, he's launching it. And he's make the receiver go make a play.
Right.
And he's still, to me anyway, Zach is still afraid to pull the trigger on time. You know, a lot of screen passes, a lot of little in cuts, made a couple of nice throws that were on slant routes where guys were in front of me, had to negotiate the throw. Didn't see a lot of batted balls, which is good. But he's better than he was last year, but boy, he still has a long way to go. Thanks so much for watching the video.
Please like and subscribe.
And don't forget to hit the bell so you're notified when we're dropping new content.